Good afternoon and welcome to The State, and thank you for choosing us. The show is brought to you by Christian Service University, located in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. My name is Gabriel 𝗟𝗡𝗩𝗘 Ankrah. I'll take a quick break and I'll be back with the details. Stay with me.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240-154825, or 0244-596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known. That's
Sorry, not sure.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Get ready for a transformational morning experience.
Sorena Shrine is here to build our spirituality, mental and physical well-being.
Through positive, inspiring actions and stories.
We bring you exciting activities and conversations that develop us as a people and as a nation.
We take a look at the trending issues in Ghana and the rest of the world.
And we also review the impacting stories from our local newspapers.
Every morning, we bring you stories of hope, change, and renewal.
We empower you through the Word of God and provoke you to live the purposeful life destined for you.
Join us, Anita Kwaku,
and the Reverend Ajika Vincent Agbamanya, Monday to Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we take you on an inspiring journey, live and exclusively on WTV.
You may also join us on Facebook at WTV Ghana and on YouTube at Wesleyan TV Ghana.
Sorry, not shrine.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Sorena Shrine is brought to you by
Danwell Insurance, Multi-Credit Savings and Loans,
and the Methodist University Ghana.
Welcome back. Let us do W Briefs. On W Briefs, what we do is to give you a summary of the topic we are discussing for the day. So in recent time, there have been criticism directed at the church for its seeming inaction on calling authorities to order on the issue of Galamsey. Critics have said that the church has lost its apostolic voice. It has lost its role to be the conscience of society in calling to a halt on this menace. But records have it that the church has not relented in its efforts. In 2017, the Catholic Bishops' Conference issued a pastoral letter on Galamsey. The Methodist Church Ghana also in 2018 launched the campaign against Galamsey. How about the Presbyterian Church? The Presbyterian Church of Ghana also launched an environmental policy. Are these initiatives of the church not enough to prove or show commitment towards the fight against galamsey? On the state this afternoon, we are going to interrogate the role of the church in fighting against this canker. I'll take a quick break and I will come and introduce you to my guest. Please don't go away.
Nyansa ejian mpenina no anaye gye mpenina no ti baabi biara mpenifo ahia na yesua adwene no ne ope nyansa no oben wa ode agudie kira adwene mu agudie ene kofie penu esa adwene nsemu mu odo nsemporo Samwa yetie bobra ekoyie frase efifrito ne ope nyansa no omenkwankwa enu ase ne mpani so ayadwene ne beye nhira amano ene ne nchirima yadamo ase
da impanyini inso ayadwene jemre na hweyen memninde ne memninde bia anopa no wotwe wo Wesleyan television so.
Back from the break. You are still on the stage. On the stage this afternoon, we are looking at the church's role. In fact, we are going to interrogate deeper because criticisms have been directed at churches in Ghana for not doing enough towards the fight against galamsey. So we're going to interrogate deeper into the role of churches in Ghana. The show is brought to you as by Christian Service University. Christian Service University is located in Kumasi in the Ashanti region. It is an institution that is bent on, or should I say, training liberal arts people, and it's been doing that for the past 50 years. Admission for the 2024-25 academic year is in progress for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. CSU offers dynamic academic and industry-driven programs in nursing, midwifery, business administration, communication, planning, and computer science. For more information, please contact our admission relations officers on 02462 75375, 0240154 825, 0244 596603, or visit our website on www.csuc.edu.gh. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa. CSU, the University of Choice. We are joined on the line by the General Secretary of the Christian Council of Ghana, Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗪, to join in the conversation. More or less, I didn't want to say to defend the church, but to give us the position of the church towards the fight against galamsey. Papa, welcome to the States. Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗪.
Yep. Thank you very much.
Good to have you. Yes, I can hear you. Good to have you on the stage this afternoon.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Great,
And
great. And
my best wishes to your audience.
the whole church community is listening to us this afternoon, particularly to you, so that we try to understand whether critics are on point in pointing fingers at the church for not being vocal enough. Papa, but before we start, can you help us, those who don't really know much about the Christian Council and its mandate? What is the Christian Council all about?
Thank you very much. The Christian Council is a fellowship of churches in Ghana, predominantly the mainline churches. It is the Presbyterians, the Methodists, the Anglicans, the Lutherans, the Baptists, the Mennonites, and so on and so forth, Salvation Army. So these mainline churches came together for the unity of the church. And then secondly, so that they can have a strong voice to speak on national issues and social concerns.
So basically, that is why I like that you said it's a fellowship. That is why the fellowship was established. I know about almost 95 years ago.
Yes, we were established in 1929. So in a few years, we'll be 100 years.
Wow. So Christian Council has been around for some time. Sometimes you see interest groups come at the Christian Council that what is the Christian Council doing? And we've not done enough. Christian Council has not done enough. Do you share in these claims? Especially in the fight against galamsey?
Not exactly, but let me say that they are coming from a certain point of view, a certain position, which may be justifiable to an extent. Let me say that the Christian Council, throughout this 95 or so years of its existence, have been an advocate for all kinds of justice, fairness, equity in society. We have been instrumental in the pre-independence movement. After independence too, we have been quite instrumental. In the military regimes, it is only the Christian Council and maybe the Catholic Bishops' Conference that were the voices that could speak. There was total silence. And in the Fourth Republic, we have also been quite vociferous. We have been part of the establishment of the Fourth Republic, the committee that put together the Constitution, the 1992 Constitution. The Christian Council was involved. So we have been involved right from the beginning. So it may sound like they have a point by saying that we are not being vociferous enough now. But I still disagree with them because we started fighting this galamsey issue long before now. In your intro, you mentioned that the Catholic Bishops' Conference did something in 2017. I came to the Christian Council in 2018, and since then, at all the joint meetings between the Christian Council of Ghana and the Catholic Bishops' Conference, we have made statements on this galamsey issue. And then the Christian Council was part of the team that went to galamsey sites to verify things for ourselves, verify what is happening on the ground for ourselves. And we were the laughing stock of the day that we went to pray. Even though we don't mind being accused of praying, because that's our job. Once we were there, we had to pray. But that was not the primary reason why we went there. We went there to observe the situation and know exactly what is happening on the ground. And also, we did not only go to the galamsey sites. We engaged most of the major stakeholders, the traditional leaders, the people in high offices in governments, and so on. We engage most people. So we have not been quiet. Okay. Let me also say that the approach of the church generally from time immemorial has not been a firefighting approach. It has been more of an agricultural or a farming approach. We work at some of these things over time. It is not when there's fire on the mountain before we start yelling and shouting, what is the church doing about it? We have always been working every day about it.
Great. So these have been your, should I say, roles or interventions in the last few years, like you said, since you assumed office. But as we speak, Reverend Dr. Sir, almost 50 people have been placed on remand because they went on demonstration last week and they were unruly and they had a brush with the police. Your critics are saying that the church has not said anything about what is perceived as abuse of rights of people who went to protest against Galamsey.
Yeah, you are right to an extent. But I've heard church voices, I've heard church leaders say something about this. Your media houses have reported, your station, I think inclusive, have reported that the Royal House Chapel, St. Ankrah, made some statements about that. And I believe that other religious leaders have made statements about that. But you see, the Christian Council of Ghana, the fact that we have not made a statement doesn't mean we are in support of it or against it in any way. But for us to come together to sit and make a statement takes some amount of time. That is what I want the whole country to appreciate. It's not so easy for us to make a statement, because to make a statement, you have to consult the entire council of church leaders. And so that process takes some time, but eventually we do make statements on some of it. And I can say confidently that we believe that what is happening is not right. So I want to add my voice to the few voices that are out there. Now, it's not right. I mean, people have a democratic right to demonstrate. And if they go on demonstration, of course, they must also demonstrate within the law. They shouldn't go about breaking things and creating all kinds of violent and destructive situations. But once they are within the law, they should be allowed to do that peacefully. And even if they have erred, we do not think that is the reason for them to be put behind bars for this long. They have the right to appeal. They have the right to not appeal, bail, to be bailed. And so their lawyers will have to come in. They can let them go home, because this is not a case where they are going to run out of the country. So they allow them to go home, and then they come to court and let the judges determine what the right course of action should be, but not throw them behind bars and punish them before even the case is heard.
Papa, the churches, let's look at your role, particularly in advocacy. So lobbying is one of the tools you use. You've also mentioned that you issue statements. Then there's the awareness creation bit in the congregation. How is it going? Are you educating congregations on the menace of environmental destruction or Galamsey per se? What has been the approach?
Yeah, the approach has always been the same, as we have done in the past. So we continue to do. We use our pulpits to educate, to create awareness, to sensitize our people to all kinds of social issues. And Galamsey is one of them. So we do that. We have done that in the past. We still do that, and we'll continue to do that. I want to say that this whole focus on the church is a bit misplaced, because the church is not where we should be focusing. We should be focusing on the problem. The church is not the problem. The fact that the church is not speaking as quickly and as loudly as we want is not the problem. The problem is that we have people who are destroying our environment, and then we should focus more on that. And the church is also trying to educate its members to desist from such activities. That is, if they are the ones perpetrating those activities, they should desist from them. And also educate those who are not doing it to also stop, or at least prevent others from doing same. So we are doing what we have always done. It's not something that we can do any magic for it to stop.
Papa,
because we still go to church on Sunday.
Yes.
And all our churches are going to our pastors. We don't ask them to preach on a particular subject, but after preaching, sometimes they even have opportunities to put some issues of concern. So they can have 5 minutes on Galamsey for that particular congregation. So that is what is happening right now.
Papa, about
and let me also say that
please go ahead.
Let me also say that the Christian Council of Ghana doesn't really determine directly what our member churches do Sunday to Sunday. Those are determined by the member churches. Even though when it comes to certain issues, let me give you an example. For instance, in COVID-19 times, the churches came together with the government, collaborated with the government, and sent down certain specific messages to our churches, our congregations. So the Christian Council of Ghana will pick it up and send it to our member churches, heads of churches, and then they will disseminate it downward. So we have done things like that in the past. The Galamsey issue is all over the place. We are all talking about it. And the pastors in our pulpits are talking about it. I can assure you of that. But that is not really helping the situation, because that is not the problem. It's not the talking about it that's the problem. It is the fact that we have still people in our society who are doing the wrong thing, and people in high offices have turned a blind eye to it. That is the problem. And that is where we should be focusing our energies, not on the churches. You know, some people have said all kinds of things, that the churches have failed, for instance.
Yeah.
I mean, but for the church in Ghana, many of us will not be where we are today. And the peace that we enjoy in Ghana today will not have been there. So let us refocus our energies to the right place and stop this overemphasis on the church must speak. We are speaking. We are still talking about these things.
But Papa, on the overemphasis on the church must speak. The church is the conscience of society, and all the people who matter. You just mentioned that there could be influential forces or powers that could be the problem. All these people in high offices come to church. They sit in front of the ministers, the asofos, and they give them access to them to influence them. So the voice of the church is very strong. That these people, so if the people are behaving in society, it is just fair that they'll say that they listen to you more than any other person. So the church still can lead the charge.
And we are doing so. We are still leading the charge. Except that in this day of social media and the speed of information age, you know, these days news travels extremely fast. And people expect the church to behave the same, but it's difficult for the church to do that, because the church is not an information agency. It's not a media house, if you like. So for us to turn around to make one point, it takes a little bit of time. That's what I want us to appreciate. But I still think that all that you have said is true. The church is the conscience of society. Many of the people in high office sit in our pews, and we speak to them every Sunday. But for some reason, it's up to them to listen to what we say, or sometimes they or not. And many of the time, they are not listening to what we are saying. Because I can assure you that many religious leaders have spoken about this Galamsey issue. They have spoken. Hello? Am I still on?
Yes, Papa, we can hear you. The whole world is listening.
Okay. Okay, your video went off for a moment, so I was a bit worried.
Sorry about that. We can hear you.
I'm saying that we are speaking to them, and we are still leading the charge in our very own way. That is in our pulpits, in our church committees, in our ecumenical councils, and so on. We are talking to people. We are also really disturbed about what is happening, and we are looking for solutions to it. But we have just not found the right one. Apart from educating our members, don't do this, you should do that and that. Apart from that, we have really not found a solution. The solution, I must say, seems to be in the hands of people in very high offices. And some of those we have even spoken to. I just mentioned that when we went to visit the Galamsey sites about 2 years ago, some of the people we spoke to, I told you that we engaged major stakeholders. We spoke to traditional, I went to chiefs in the Galamsey areas, security forces. We spoke to the Minerals Commission. We spoke to the Ministry of Natural Resources. And then we also spoke to went all the way to the presidency and had audience with the president. So we have done all of that. And so for someone to just sit somewhere and say that the church is not doing anything. And as I said, there is a firefighting mode, and that is what we are in now, because it's a sort of a state of an emergency. If we don't do anything right now, things will go over the brink. So I agree that we must use firefighting modes now. But that notwithstanding, I believe that we are still doing those things that eventually it should lead to a cessation of the menace that we are seeing today.
Yeah. Great. So viewers, if you are just joining us, you are on The State, and this afternoon on The State we are interrogating the role of the church in Ghana against the menace of Galamsey, and discussing this with us, telling us what the role or the intervention of the church has been over the period, and even as it is now, as calls are coming, is the General Secretary for the Christian Council of Ghana, Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗪𝗘. And we are being told the perspective of the church, and in case you never knew that these interventions have been implemented by the church, now you do. So join in the conversation, and I guarantee that at the end of it you will see that indeed our church has a role to play. Papa, let me ask about you mentioned that we are looking for these solutions to the cessation of Galamsey. Some have also argued that the church now is in the position to help in economically, because those who are involved in Galamsey says that it is their source of livelihood. So can the church also venture into finding alternative livelihood for these people so that they don't engage in Galamsey?
That is a difficult one. The church over the years, in fact, the women's group in my church is called the Women's Bible Class. So in my church, for the women, and in those days, in the early days, they were virtually, most of them were illiterate women. They had a Bible class. They had adult education for the women. They taught them how to read, how to write, how to read the Bible, and they taught them skills, how to do a lot of things. But these days, some of these things are a little beyond the church. For the church to provide alternative forms of livelihood for Galamseyers is a task that is beyond the church. This is a national task. So that is what I find a bit difficult about that. But in our own small way, when we educate them and they agree with us and look for alternative livelihood means, we will help them. The church has a capacity to build their capacities in other ways. And we are going to help them. But to provide livelihood for all Galamseyers as it is now, I think it's a call that is a little beyond the abilities of the capacities of the church. But having said that, let me also say something. You asked me what is the role of the church. WTB is the church. In fact, what Christian Council of Ghana and maybe the ecumenical bodies need right now is for us to have like a media wing of the council, so that we'll keep up with the pace of what is happening. Yeah. So every time we are on TV and we have hosts on TV who are speaking to the issues as they happen. That is not what we don't have right now. But maybe that is what we have to set up. But the Christian Council really doesn't duplicate the work of the church. We are a fellowship of churches, so the churches are already doing the work. So if the Methodist Church, for instance, sets up WTV, Wesleyan TV, what Wesleyan TV is doing now, even the fact that you have invited me to clarify the air about the role of the church and so on, is all part of that sensitization process, that educational process.
Exactly.
to help society to come to terms with what is happening in our country.
That's true. That's right. Papa, you mentioned that you visited sites and it became a public mockery. We'll show on the screens briefly some of the rashes or the images when the council visited those sites to ascertain, just like you have mentioned, the effect or damage, and you prayed, and that is what the church will do. The spiritual concern is the spiritual guidance is also important, and I want. Let's watch it now.
People will humble themselves and turn from our wicked ways and cry. We will heal our land and save us. Heal our nation. Heal our nation.
Complex challenge. So I want to ask Apostle S.
Papa, so here, what was happening? What did you seek to?
Are you talking to me?
Let's watch the video and then I'll come back quickly. So, Papa, that was, I think you made reference to this video when the leadership of the church visited those sites and the Galamsey sites, and it became a public ridicule to some people. Some of us saw the essence of that. What was the purpose achieved?
No, the purpose was not achieved because in spite of that effort, I mean, all the church leaders, these church leaders are extremely busy persons. But because of the seriousness of the Galamsey issue, we came together, not only the Christian Council, the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Pentecostal and Charismatic Council, we all came together and even spoke to consultants, people to educate us, the church leaders, on what the situation is and how to approach it. And then after that, we went to visit the sites, and they showed us the level of devastation that is happening. And then we visited the traditional leaders, as I said, and so on and so forth. And the whole idea was to bring a temporary stop, some kind of moratorium on Galamsey, so that we regroup, we come back to the drawing table, and develop a new strategy for exploiting mineral wealth, the wealth that is under our soils. How do we do it so that it doesn't injure our health and our ecology? So that was what we did. And by the end of the day, our position that there must be a moratorium, some kind of moratorium on Galamsey, and at least, if not a full one, at least a temporary one, let's say 1 or 2 years, let's all stop all activities. It came to nothing, I must say. It did not happen. It did not happen. Because part of the reason we were giving was that livelihoods were involved. It was a major source of income to the economy and so on and so forth. But the devastation that is being caused is irreversible, and we must still take a second look at that. So I support the people who are still calling for a total ban on this menace in our society.
The call for total ban, where you sit and the interaction, visiting the site, talking to the authorities or people who have really researched into this area, telling us the effects of. Do you think that it is possible that there can be that outright, that complete ban, just as people are calling, as it's been the solution to curbing this menace once and for all?
You see, we were in this country in 2019, 2020, when COVID struck. And within 3 months, we were able to shut down the entire country. not just Galamsey, the entire country was shut down. There was no movement. We were all in our rooms. We were locked up in our rooms for weeks. We couldn't even just go out and conduct basic activities in the day. If we could do that in the last, maybe the last 4 years, or in the past 4 years, we were able to do that. I think we can shut down Galamsey. It must be a national effort. We must all agree that even though my livelihood is going to be affected, it is better I don't have that livelihood for 6 months and continue to have my life and continue to have clean water than to have that livelihood that will end up in my death. So it's a choice we have to make as a country. And if we take it seriously enough, I believe that we can shut the whole thing down. And it can be done. Mining have been done. I mean, when I say it can be done, it means we can shut it down and still mine in the right way so that it will not affect us negatively. Mining has been done in this country for centuries. And some of the big mining companies are still mining without any problem. They are not polluting our waters, and maybe they are not reclaiming the land as they are supposed to do, or they're not supporting the communities where they are mining as they are supposed to do. But at least the kind of devastation that is being caused by this illegal mining now is something that must be stopped. We stop it, we come to the drawing table, and then we find ways where all of us can benefit from these mining activities without hurting ourselves.
So, Papa, you mentioned it's more or less a multi-sectoral approach that can get us to curb this particular canker. Partnership. Let's look at the area of partnership. Has the church partnered anybody? But we will take a quick break. When we are back, we'll look at partnership, the challenges, and way forward so far as the role of the church is concerned. Please stay with me. I'll take a quick break.
The Christian Service University, a fully chartered private university in Ghana, is inviting applications for admission. Undergraduate programs include BSc Nursing and Midwifery, Computer Science, Information Technology, Bachelor of Business Administration, BA Communication Studies, Planning and Social Development, and Theology with Administration. Postgraduate programs include MSc in Accounting and Finance, Monitoring and Evaluation, Corporate Planning and Governance. We have MA MPhil Communication Studies, MA Christian Ministry with Management, Event Management, MPhil English and Mathematics Education. With quality, faculty and state-of-the-art facilities, we blend academic work with entrepreneurial mindset in all our programs. For more information, please call 0246 275375, 0240 154825, or 0244 596603, or visit our website www.csuc.edu.gh. CSU is located at Odenaho Kwadaso on the Kumasi Obuasi Road, 100 meters off Star Junction. Choose CSU today to secure the future of Africa.
And to make him better known. Don't come here. don't call me. Ghana for Methodist Asafoma. WTV Enyamfienu 5 years. Hooray! Na enam emfienu mafidida. WTV ADNT. Or yet don't call me promo. And it says, so we are Ghana ni. Now our business. And Ejuma Kobi a opeso bongo deura. WTV say, ye baby ka Ejuma Kono. And as we got on dieno. Ya bongo deura na watu mienu. 2 weeks at the amount. 1,000 Ghana cedis per aubetuya. We a yakwanya. WTV Airfa so at the other was say. What time the chi? Ama edrum pempenswa and never drink. Some promo here didn't was make a crack and they Yanunti, Muamu Makua Mopesa Mubo Deuro. Muntu Tumrika, Namumrai, Fred WTV, Nani Penfoning Como, Emfa don't come promo 0593 110733 and now WhatsApp 0256 253461. WTV, reaching out to the world.
Yo, Agubado. Only yes, I say, so I say, Nuya. You know, you're too no. And a guano. Say, baby, I shall add then a who. Oh, you my assassin here. And you, second now. Scalbetta the ovation. By wait to have a sheet. Who's la casa? We say, Sabo, what's a sakwa of because never one yet. Excavate and something bill and Omcoto, she and Ominous can go to Charman. Now we were then, ya bay. Oh, you my eye. Yes, say assassin. I say, Sue, as I say, Ria. Ya, ya, man, ya best saying. Charman, eh, most of you in Ghana. Ejuma Ben in Ghana, on Pebla, Ejuma in Ghana.
Or articles about newspaper. The article about America was say, anyone was an anonymous need to me at the best top of Galamsey. Make I in all kind. Say, anonymous need to me at the best top. Make I know, make us and no crash, some cast who need to media. As I say, no, who rests say, but why in a while rests a man boy, in a while rests a sin. Yes, hanging out would not wrestle. Now, will be about Sube to Galamsey, Yana prayer. A gentleman who need to me is all kind. Abra so ne kunta se e bo hye no trabam dia se am so tum fontan kese kase wa masase so en nanan muntu e de yensu ye ka ho galamse no wa bi wo asase so bia ho so ka ho za na che eti ye nyina ye wa e bi wo asase so bia ya se nsu bia ho so ka ho bi nti ye nyina hwe kwan ya de besi ano za ze wa pa wa asase so no obese wunsu nkrofo nsu e be no ye tu and the other and was who create you menko Berkuma Sam was at the Tankase Baba Mane. Son and also Bama and I'm in fair regems as a Fasoja for Quas in it. Nan my boy may come catch a union. No cranny next year was here or he be a galanse when I was here friend because as a dating or two. I'm an abanu here. Yabaninia mania or Quabaco. As I contra bow and about one of a boy manana Amanuko was since you know, and it's an outcome.
Before you leave office.
So welcome back from the break. You just saw on your screen, we first saw the young men who were, should I say, grossly involved in Galamsey, gleefully tell us to our faces that the water bodies and the land is being destroyed, and there was no remorse Let's also listen to the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church on Galamsey. Let's listen.
As Gold Coast, now look at what we are doing. We saw greed, selfishness. Embre kakra yezi. Yetu na mona ne no mukura Ghana for one thing na se mendempo wozi ye ho fel de hwe asofo no wa kagina Galamsey site na waro bompa de nsu na nyindan Wakejina hode insun na mankofo no ayɛ asase no ɔnsane nyɛ foforo bio nyɛ dem yankejina hode yɛre bompa de yɛre bompa yɛkejina hɔ ne yɛhui dɛ Ghana fo yɛ abora ankasa Ghana fo yɛ nyiberfo ankasa Ghana fo sɛ adza ankasa ɔno ne yɛgyina de ewuraze fa Ghana fo hɔne bɔne kyɛ hɔn meze man hɛ ne dɛ Oma yenya ahunyafo yenya ze wom na yemfantu ya no hon hwe ma ya ye inde ene yenya ya asa na sorry bi oyo me fitakwa enam just this Friday takwa mudu takwa na odam ko pata ho ye ke ye nsu ma pata ho fo nenam takwa Bishop Dodo wa ha.
Yes, so you just heard the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana bemoan the speed at which we are destroying our environment. And before his video came to your shot, we also saw, yes, Doc, you were there when the presiding bishop made this.
I was actually there. Yeah.
Yes. So indeed, like you said, the church has been playing its role in making sure at least we're using the pulpit to make sure that we halt this canker once and for all. Or say to also bemoaned and even chastise his colleagues that it's your land that is being used to do this, and and he has proven in a recent time where some people have been disturbed. Dr. Fayo said, can we partner, let's say, environmental organizations to preach against this injustice against the environment, and then our chiefs and traditional authorities in fighting this once and for all?
Yes, we can partner. In fact, I completely agree with the Otumfuo for his remarks. I mean, you can't be the overlord of a land and things will be happening there, and you claim you don't have any power over what is happening. So I agree that our chiefs, our traditional leaders too, must wake up and stand their ground. In fact, I made a trip to Kumasi recently, and a road trip, and on the way, you could see a clear difference when you move into the eastern region, just on the Ankrah Kumasi highway, and then you move into the Ashanti region. You could see a clear difference in the level of devastation and destruction that you see along the road. And the number of platforms that have been formed by our welders right by the roadside.
Yeah.
You can see it in one region in abundance, and you move to the next region and it ceases to exist. And that tells you something. That tells you something is happening. And the position of the traditional leaders, even in that matter, the position of our security forces in that matter, can really make a difference. So yes, in terms of partnership, yes, we have always been in partnership with a number of organizations. There have been church-state partnership. The church has partnered the government of Ghana in so many things, in education, in health, in agriculture, and so on and so forth. And like I said more recently, in COVID, we worked very closely with the government to bring that situation to an end, because the church was integrally involved in the transmission of the disease process. So the state works very closely with the church, and we're informed every step of the way as to what to do so that we do not worsen the situation. We have had partnerships also with our development partners in so many areas, in different things. But in the area of Galamsey, environmental or creation care, our main partner as at now, as Christian Council of Ghana, has been Arocha Ghana. Arocha is an international environmental organization, and their branch in Ghana has been working with the Christian Council Youth to curb some of these environmental problems in our society. So yes, we invite partnerships. We've not had any partnership with traditional leaders as at this point. As I said, we just engage them, and we'll continue to engage them. But we are open to partnerships. Yes, partnerships really help. It's multi-sectorial. We are all involved. We are all part of the problem in one way or the other. So we must all help put a stop to it.
But some people mock at the church when you pray against the activities of Galamsey. Will you stop praying?
No, not at all. Prayer is our business. And, you know, as people of faith, we believe that with God, all things are possible. It may look impossible to us human beings. We may be throw our hands up in the air and say, what are we going to do about this Galamsey issue? Because the more we talk about it, the more we try to fight it, the more it seems to be happening. But sometimes when we commit these things to prayer, sometimes it changes the way things are going. So we believe that to God, all things are possible.
So we will continue to pray.
We'll continue to pray. We'll pray without ceasing. And we believe that we'll be victorious at the end of the day. But not just prayer. It must be prayer backed by action. Okay. And the action, the social action that we are taking is what we are doing right now on WTV, and what the presiding bishop was just saying. I was right there when he was saying that it was powerful. And he has been part of this fight right from the beginning. He was one of the leaders that sent us to the Galamsey sites and so on. So, and with all that the presiding bishop said, how can someone say that the church is not speaking?
The church is indeed speaking. Well, if I should say one major challenge of the church in the fight against Galamsey, what would that be? Major challenge that hinders the church?
Well, you know, the church has the voice. As you said, people listen to us. We have a captured audience, if you like. People sitting in our pews for like an hour or 2 or 3, we have the opportunity to tell them what we want to tell them. And some of those people include our leaders, people in very high places, high offices. So, but that is all we have. And that is very powerful, but that is all we have. We don't have other powers. When I talk about other powers, we don't have prosecutorial powers. We don't have the power to bring people to book. So we can only talk. But apart from that, we can only try to convince people to do the right thing. But apart from that, we are not the law to say that, hey, because we have told you and you continue to do it, this is your punishment. We cannot do that. So that's one of our biggest challenges. And there's no way we can do that too. So some other people will have to collaborate with the church if we are going to win this fight.
We're going to win this fight
against Galamsey.
Great. Papa, your final words. Speak to us on Galamsey. Your final words.
Well, God has blessed our country in so many ways. Our country is one of the blessed spots on earth. We have everything. So let us exploit what we have. Let us exploit the gifts that God has given us wisely. And let us not destroy ourselves. And that goes to all of us. No one is left out. Let us exploit what God has given us. Let us use what God has given us. But let us use it wisely.
Let us use it wisely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. 𝗟𝗓𝗘, General Secretary, Christian Council of Ghana, for engaging us in this conversation. So this afternoon, we've been looking at the role of the church in the fight against Galamsey. The show has been brought to us by Christian Service University. My name is Gabriel Otu Ankrah. Please, our water bodies, our forests, our lands are being destroyed. Let us act now. Let's stop Galamsey now. I am back on Wednesday on your screens for an interesting conversation. Take care. Goodbye.